What's up, everybody? Well, today I'm here to bring to you another vacuum in my vacuum collection. This time it is of another Hoover. Here I bring to you one of Hoover's elite concept hybrids. Here I have a Hoover Power Drive Supreme model U6323-930. This is one of the many versions of the Hoover Power Drive. I knew the base model was the beige colored one. That I do have a video on that one. I also have a black Power Drive Supreme, and there was also a blue model, and there was a green version of this. Well, actually two of them. There was a lighter green one that was branded the Auto Drive, and then another one which had the rare embedded dirt finder up top. And if my memory serves me correct, I think there was also a Kenmore branded Hoover Power Drive that was sold exclusively at Sears. I remember seeing a couple photos of that vacuum on Vacuum Land, and I think I even saw a YouTube video on that same particular vacuum, the Kenmore branded Hoover Power Drive. But anyway, story for how I got this vacuum. I bought this power drive after wanting a little bit better condition than the black power drive I have, and I will link a video to that vacuum in the description box, so if any of you are interested you can see that one. But I bought this vacuum because I wanted a power drive that was all original, especially I wanted one that has a hose. If any of you can probably remember, my black power drive never came with a hose because apparently it was lost by the previous owner. And hoses for these power drives, as well as the predecessor Hoover Power Max, were just very hard to come by. They were just scarce because parts for these vacuums, as well as the older Concept 1s, Concept 2s, Power Maxes, are just very hard to come by because they haven't been out for so long that the US patents never got a chance to expire, so generic companies can't make replacement parts for these vacuums, which kind of sucks because these are great machines. And interestingly enough, the way Hoover designed this vacuum is back in 1994, that was the final production year of their latest concept series, the Hoover Power Max. I do have a video of one of their vacuums, which I will link in the description box. But anyway, that was the final concept style Hoover. And Hoover wanted to update their self-propelled vacuum, but while at the same time the Hoover Elite style machines were selling like hotcakes. The cheap ones, the high-end ones, everything. So Hoover wanted to keep that platform, but make a self-propelled vacuum out of it. Well, what Hoover found out, or at least how they created this, is they simply chopped off the bottom end of a Hoover Power Max, because believe me, this has the same base as the Power Max as well as the older concepts, and they slapped on a modified top end of a Hoover Dimension. As you can see, it's got the tools up top there like a Dimension, and it takes Hoover Type Z bags, and Hoover decided to make an elite concept hybrid vacuum, and it went into production. Although it didn't last very long, because later off, when I think it was about 1998 or 99 when they came out with the Wind Tunnel series, then they made that one a self-propelled. So then this vacuum was fairly short-lived. But anyway, this is a pretty interesting Hoover upright. As you see up top here, you have your switch for your self-propelled. This control arm actually slides forward and back, depending on how you apply force. Right here is your main power switch right here. like any Elite style vacuum, it's connected to a plastic rod that runs down into where a main rocker switch is in the valley of the motor. And up top here, you do have your onboard attachments. You have your crevice tool, dusting brush, and your upholstery tool. And as we come down here, you, interestingly enough, have a checked bag indicator on this. How it works is, as you're looking down at the vacuum, this little valve will pop out to let you know that your bag is good and you can continue vacuuming. But as you eventually start to vacuum and it slides in, then you need to check your bag. Which, this is kind of an interesting setup, being that this is a direct air vacuum. Meaning all the stuff you pick up goes through a fan and then blows into the bag. Whereas a bypass system, if you have a check bag indicator on one of those, there's a little mechanical valve that rises up and cuts off suction to let you know that you need to change your bag. It's kind of interesting how Hoover wanted that feature on a direct air vacuum, and they kind of thought around it by coming up with this. And inside here, you do have your little scent tablet right here. There's not that much of a scent left to it. And right here is a little actuator arm for the check bag. But it was a nice feature you can get. You also do have a little valve on the front to let out some of that fresh scent. And right inside here you have your Type Z bag. I am currently running a HEPA Type Y bag, and people can make their arguments all they want, but I believe the Type Y bags is the same thing as a Type Z. They're the same size. The Type Ys, you can get them in HEPA cloth configuration. The collars are exactly the same size, so they fit right in place. And you have modern filtration out of an old direct air vacuum. So anyway, right down here you have more labels. It's self-propelled, energy efficient, 99% microfiltration, down to 5 microns. Now that lives up to its name that it has a HEPA bag. There's its old marketing labels, full-size bag, posture, perfect handle. Down here you have more where it says furniture-friendly width. Hoover lettering, self-propelled. It's got brushed edge cleaning on both sides. Well, this side edge cleans a little bit better because of where the belt's put on one of these. Right here, this cleaning effectiveness per amp is rated at 22. This is not based on any facts. This is just Hoover's marketing technique to make them look more appealing on the shelf. A little Hoover symbol right down there. And you have a check bag indicator right over here. Now how this works is while you're vacuuming, this little indicator will rotate round and round to let you know that your belt will need to be replaced. If it stands still, that means you have a good working belt and you don't need to replace it. Well, now. So anyway, as we go along the side here, you have more attachments. You have your extension wand and your hose right up here. This is a flexible hose. And here's your little end that you open this little flap right down here and you stick it down in, and now you can use your hose, pretty much like a lower end Elite, which I honestly don't know why Hoover decided to do that. They could have just made an automatic hose conversion on this like the Legacies and Dimensions have, and which that would have really saved people a lot of headache, because right as you lose this hose and they're impossible to find, this end is a lot different from the traditional low end Elites. As you can see, it's kind of rounded out right there. The ones on the lower end Elites were square, so I kind of wish they did the square one so parts would be easier to find. But at the same time, the price you pay for one of these brand new, you would think they would have been smart enough to add an automatic hose conversion. And usually on the Elite style machines, you just flip the carpet height to the highest setting, and now all the suction's going through your hose. Whereas this vacuum's predecessor, the Power Max, you put it in its upright position, there's a mechanical valve that diverts all the suction to the hose. Which, don't know why, but that's just how Hoover designed it. So let's go ahead and tip this thing back to show you the underside. Right here is its all original brush roll. The bristles are nice and stiff. They're not as long because this brush roll does have some wear. And like I said, since these parts are hard to find, they do not make replacement brush rolls for these anymore, so you're just left with whatever brush roll you have left or whatever bristles you have left, so that kind of sucks. At least they still make belts for them, so... And these are the same style belts as the Concept 1s, 2s, and Power Maxes take. Right here are your drive wheels down below. And you have metal tabs that allow you to take the bottom plate off, to change your belt. Kind of nice that Hoover did this. I think it's easier to change a belt on this than it is to change a belt on a traditional Elite. You gotta pop the bottom end off, then you gotta pop off the top hood just to get to the belt. Right here you have your traditional Concept style rear axle with the dual release pedals. You see, this one actually still has its mechanism to allow the head to sit up off the floor because this is its original transmission. It didn't need to be replaced like my black power drive did. And right back here, you do have your model number. I'm going to see if I can't show this thing to you. My camera focus. It's Hoover Cleaner model U6323-930, 120 volts, 60 hertz, 7.8 amps. And the serial date, I could tell you the first 4 digits are the month and the year. So this vacuum was made in April of 1996 for household use only, made in the USA. Carry handle back here, but unfortunately, this is a pretty heavy machine because it's got the self-propelled transmission. So it adds a little bit of weight to it, but if you're good and strong, then you probably won't have that much issues lifting this up and down stairs. Right here's your spare carrier for your extra belt, which this one is probably useless because it's sat on there for so long, so it's probably dry rotted. So if I were to install this, that would just snap right away. So now let's go ahead and release the cord. It's fairly long. Fortunately, the cord is not in the best condition. As you see, it's got a little bit of nicks here and there around there, but luckily no exposed wires, so that's one good thing. So eventually I will need to try sourcing a replacement cord if I want this thing to go the distance, but I have so many vacuums to begin with, so I'm probably not even going to bother. This actually uses the same proprietary cord design as the Elite, so hopefully even a traditional Elite cord would be able to fit this. All right, I think I managed to get this thing untangled, which is why before I run every vacuum, I like to make sure to run down the cord to make sure there are no tangles in it, because that's the last thing you want is to reach all across the room and you got a kink in the cord from a tangle. But anyway, now let's go ahead and turn this vacuum on and we'll demonstrate it cleaning for you, which is probably the thing you wanted to see in the first place. Now, traditional Elite fashion, this thing is pretty loud, so headphone users beware, but in my opinion, I feel like this vacuum's not as loud as a traditional Elite. But anyway, you guys can be the judge on that. So, here we go. This thing runs very nice. Before I end the video, let's go ahead and show you this thing in tool mode. Flip this little cap up and pop the hose in like so. Now, I would like to point out, for those of you who own one of these, don't expect miracle suction. Because this is a direct air vacuum, it's not very high. Your upholstery tool. Alright, now we'll go ahead and put this back to how it was. Simply slide this in like so. There were some other models of the power drive that actually had a spot where you slide it down in and it locks in place. I honestly like that setup better than this, but it is what it is. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video on the Hoover Power Drive Supreme. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.